everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Women Like Me. I'm Julie Fairhurst. I'm the founder of the program, and I am the story coach. Today, I'm here with the lovely Sheri Godfrey. She wrote in book number 4, Women Like Me, Breaking Through the Silence. It's a fabulous story that Sheri wrote. It's well, I'm not going to give too much away because we're going to let Sheri tell us about it, but it's good. You'll all want to stay tuned and listen to Sheri, and also maybe get a chance to read her story. You'll definitely want to do that as well. So I'm going to just tell you a little bit about Sheri, and then we're going to dive into her story. So Sheri's story is in chapter 10 of the book, and it's called Pity Party or Champagne. When death knocks on your door, how will you answer? Sheri was raised and born and raised in Nova Scotia, and her values have always been based on helping your neighbor. And I love how she says, we just added a chair to the table in times of need, especially for those that were challenging times or tough conversations. So I love that. I love it. Sheri is a certified end-of-life doula. Did I pronounce that right?
You did, yeah.
Good. Okay. So that's interesting as well. We're going to talk about that. So Sheri says that death is a guarantee for each of us. When we can make these conversations part of our everyday vocabulary, families can move through final days with greater understanding, love, compassion, and support. So she says, don't leave your end-of-life plans to the bitter end. Pre-planning really does lift a weight off your shoulders, and it does create ease and grace for your family. I love that. That's a lovely little paragraph you've got there. So welcome, Sheri.
Thanks, Julie.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you here and to discuss your story. I want to start, if it's okay. I just want to read just a chapter of your story. Oh, actually, so let's start by you telling me why you wanted to write in the book. Let's start with that first.
Well, one, because you were at the head of it. So how could we not? When you have the opportunity to work with a story coach and to bring a story to fruition, to me, it's just a game changer, and it was a no-brainer. So it really is. I bought into you first and foremost. Your heart spoke to my heart, and I just needed to be a part of it, especially this one, breaking through the silence. I think as women, we're so accustomed to being silent, especially in our generation, if I could preface. So I think like our daughters that we're bringing up, the 20s and the 30s, are used to speaking openly and freely and candidly, but that's not how we grew up.
No.
So we were designed to, no girl should be seen and not heard. So having the opportunity to bring really powerful stories to the forefront, to make them normal conversations and to make them just normal in life is a game changer.
Yeah. Oh, well, I appreciate you being willing to do it. So thank you. Thank you for reaching out, Sheri. Okay, let's start now. Let's start with this little chapter I want to read in the book that you wrote, because I really think it really sets the stage for what your story is about. And it's your very first chapter. The bright sun beaming down with a soft, gentle breeze, laughter in the background as our family gathered for the summer barbecue. When out of the blue, a wet, sucking noise interrupted so rudely. Reality set in. It was in our space. It was in our space, my mother in its grasp. Do you want to tell us what was happening there? I remember when I first read that paragraph, I'm like, oh, geez.
Yeah, so this story really is about the challenges that we're overcoming with my mom. And when death knocks on your door, it really does sum it up. So this beautiful day, we finally had our family all together out on our back deck, and it felt normal. It just felt like a normal day. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue and in the background comes this wet noise. So my mom has ovarian cancer, and my mom had been through surgery. And she's been through a couple of surgeries, and each one has left her with an infection. So even though the surgery is done, she's now hooked up to a machine that she carries around 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It does not leave her. So it's a contraption that goes inside of your body, and it's designed to take the infection out. And when it is doing that, it's a wet sucking noise. and it
Oh,
disrupts the silence or the laughter or the joy that might be in that moment, that all of a sudden it's a really sharp, stark reminder that something is sitting in the room with us, that we didn't invite them in. They're not a welcome guest, but they are a guest nonetheless, and they are here for the long haul. So although we
wow.
do like to pull up another chair and invite more people around the table, this is one chair that we certainly would like to be able to pull away from our table and tuck into the corner. But that particular day, it was a vivid reminder of what the battle was.
Wow. So when you say that, so I didn't realize that it was to remove the infection from the body. I didn't know there was a apparatus like that. So it's something that's inserted into the body, and then I'm assuming there's some sort of a bag or something like that that is extracting the infection from her body.
Correct. It's called the vac
Oh,
system. So it actually
oh,
vacuums things out, and there's a little contraption that captures that. And then it
yeah.
needs to be dispensed and cleaned out on a regular basis. A
Wow.
nurse saw my mom daily to make sure that everything was working the way that it was supposed to be working.
Yeah.
So it's a medical contraption that certainly set us up for success, I'm going to say, because without it,
Yeah.
my mom may not be here. So with
Yeah.
the wonderful technologies that we have, although it was cumbersome, so it almost looks like a little black box that you would see in the movies, right? The little black box from the airplane is what it looks
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
It has a big long strap and a plethora of cords. So my mom would often get entangled with the cord.
Oh,
But it has a long cord so that they can have some freedom to go
yeah.
about their day, but it does
Yeah.
catch on everything that you go. So it really
Oh,
is, it's not a fun piece, and it's not a
no.
fun piece to the story, but it is one that has been by my mom's side on a couple of
Yeah.
occasions.
Wow. Wow. Well, your mom's a very positive lady that I got from the story.
Yes,
Yeah. And your dad's a wonderful man.
I agree
Yes.
100%. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So you do go through the story, you talk a bit about your first 3 or 4 pages, you're talking about your mom going through and having to deal with all of that. And then, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And that's really not really where the story starts, but it really hits home because you say, imagine being alone in a room with a team of doctors as they told you that your latest CAT scan showed the return of another tumor. The diagnosis was harsh, but she's alone.
Absolutely alone. So, I
Oh,
mean, cancer is not fun on any given day. And my
yeah,
mom had the diagnosis in September of 2019. So that's
yeah,
when her journey started with ovarian cancer. And we had thought that she was good. So my mom had the surgery. She's had the back machine for a subsequent infection. She's had a full round of chemo. And then fortunately, what they did is they put my mom on a trial program. So God bless, we live in Canada, and we're able to have the luxury of a trial program. I can't imagine being in a country where you would have to opt to pay for that.
right.
So
Yes,
part of this trial program is that she still has her blood taken once a week, just as if she were in treatment. She went for a mystery drug. It wasn't chemo, but we didn't know if it was placebo or trial. That was fine. And then once a month, they do CAT scans, and it's to make sure that everything is working. So monitored to the hilt, looked after and cared for like nobody's business. So what a
yeah,
beautiful system we have to
yeah,
allow our loved ones to be cared for.
yeah,
But while you're going through all of this, we've been to chemo treatments and sat with my mom. We went to the last one and watched her ring the bell. It's a family affair. So you're not alone through all of this. But then COVID hit and our world shut down. And even just from a regular perspective, we all felt the doldrums and the heavy that came when COVID came. And it was just a very different world we were living in. And then you threw the medical component on top of it.
mhm,
My mom's treatments still continued, but my dad would drive her and he would have to sit in the car. He was no longer allowed to go in and accompany my mom. And she would go for her doctor's visits. My dad would have to stay in the car, which for us, we were super frustrated because, there's at this point, we knew that there was some sort of testing. So, test us, mask us, do whatever you can, but
yeah,
you should not be alone in isolation while also dealing with life-altering news or diagnosis.
Yes.
So my mom goes into what she believes is just regular checkup. I'm just going to go see what the last CAT scan was. You know, I'd be
Yeah.
in, Bob's your uncle, and out I'll be in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And before she knew it, she was getting news that she didn't expect to get. The
Mm.
tumor that they had removed, the CAT scan had showed that there was a tumor had returned, and lo and behold, cancer is now sitting back in the room with her. So she's by herself. I mean, married for 50 some odd years. So her partner in crime is sitting out waiting for her. He's not knowing what's going on. And they call my dad on his cell phone. They put him on speakerphone. And my mom is sobbing in the background. And there's nobody there to console you. Like, there's no one to reach over and to grab your hand. There's nobody there to reach out and give you a hug. There's no one to sit and to cry with you. So they're both isolated in completely different places, and neither one can reach out and touch and help the other. So it really became apparent that COVID, from a world perspective, was awful. From a personal family perspective, it really was the sucker punch to getting that news, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, we heard all sorts of stories during COVID about families like yours. I just couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine being terminally, seriously ill and not being able to have my husband or one of my kids or somebody with me.
Yeah, right? Like, who does that? And even from a medical perspective, I can't imagine the angst and the anguish that our medical teams are going through as they're having to deliver these really hard pieces of information without the additional support sitting in a room. So they are your doctors, but in a heartbeat, they also have to become somewhat like a family member. And it's a different sort of compassion to sit in that room and deliver that news, knowing they now need to make like a speaker phone call to someone sitting. And like, it was a cold-hearted moment.
Yes, for sure. Wow. Yeah. And then you've written in here, I will never forget the moment they arrived home. The sing-song voice was vacant as my mom shared the news with tears streaming down her face. Why me? What have I done to deserve this? What will your father do?
Right. And I think that sums it up for any of us. Any of us who are wives and mothers and daughters. We always look at that big picture. It's my mom came in, and it wasn't although there was that pity, you know, why me?
Yes.
What did I ever do to deserve this? I don't understand. But she automatically went to, what's your dad going to do?
Yeah.
What's going to happen to him?
Oh, yeah.
And even in the blink of an eye, and it's ironic that it's funny, but not funny, that in that moment, my mom was, we need to get your dad on eHarmony to make sure that he has someone. We're pretty sure you're still here, right? Right?
Oh, good for her. Good for her.
And we just both kind of looked and went, we're pretty sure that you're still here, and like, we're good. Like, we're good. But it's automatically where we go to in that caregiver mode. We want to make sure that everybody else is looked after. And subsequently, my mom has gone back to that a couple of times. I mean, we all have bad days, and we're allowed to have bad days. And my mom has amazing days, but she does have some not so great days.
Right.
Where that pity party does come out. And in those moments of pity party, she still looks and says, well, if we could just find, you know, we should just make sure. What about eHarmony? Like, no, Mom. Like, we're still good. We're still good. So we do get a few little chuckles out of it.
That's sweet. Oh, what a sweetheart. Oh, yeah. What a sweetheart. Just sitting here visualizing it. What do you think about this one, honey?
Right?
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, your mom has a fabulous personality. Just beautiful. Well, actually, the part that I just turned to is about your mom again. It says, my mom is strong, resilient, and living an attitude of gratitude. Gratitude for each day her feet are planted on this side of the earth. Some days are rough, days where tears flow even when she doesn't want them. But on those days, she grants herself permission to have a pity party, permission to sit with the tears and anger of why me. And I just really, when I read that, I thought, like people, we always want to be so strong, and strong is better because we don't want to get into a depression and that kind of things, because that doesn't help our health at all.
No.
But there's nothing wrong with having a bad day.
Absolutely nothing wrong with a bad day. There's nothing wrong with even having a pity party, even if life is going your way 95% of the time.
Yeah.
So I've had this conversation with my daughter, and I have said, there's going to be some days that you wake up that your feet are going to hit the floor and you just want to curl up in a little ball and in your bed. To do that.
Yeah.
And we don't talk about that enough. We don't give other women permission to do that enough. That regardless of what you're doing in life, if you are in your ideal career, you have the perfect little family from the outside in, there are going to be days that are just so heavy, you can't. I just can't adult today.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to have those days.
Yes.
You're allowed to have those moments, and you're allowed to pity party. So I've said, you can pity party it up. You can pity party for a day. But you can't pity party for a week, and you shouldn't pity party for a month.
Exactly.
But if you're faking it to make it, which we've all heard that one as well, that's good to a certain extent. But if you wake up every day having to fake it, you're bottling down and you're pushing down all of those heavy, strong emotions.
Yeah.
They eventually build up so hard that you do bust and burst. And that's a mental breakdown that you're having. It's not just a day, a week, or a month. It could be a year, two, maybe more, that you're in a state of disrepair and you're trying to pull yourself back out from that bottom. Why would we do that to ourselves?
Right. Yeah.
Give yourself permission to just be in that pity party. And even now, we've been my husband has walked in my door and it's I don't know what's going on next door. I'm blessed that my parents live on my property, but your mom has the music blaring.
Oh.
I don't know what she's doing. So I've gone over, and sure enough, the music is blaring, and my mom does what she's doing best. She's cleaning. So as a lot of women do in a state of despair or overwhelm, we pull out the broom and our house looks meticulous by the time we're done. She's cleaning and the songs are going, and she had said, it's a bad day today and I just don't want to hear myself cry. Then blare that music up and do whatever you need to do today. You're entitled to having a day like that. Yeah. And it's okay. Yeah. Tomorrow's a brand new day, and we'll pull up our socks and we'll look at it tomorrow. But if today you want to blare it, you want to cry till your heart's content, blare that music and cry away. It's perfectly normal.
Yeah. That's great advice, Sheri, really for all of us, because because I think we do need to have down days every once in a while. Yeah. And if we don't, then eventually we burn out, so we break or something happens, and then we can't get back up.
No, and you can't function at work or in your business or with your family. It's just a snowball effect. Whereas if we give ourselves permission every once in a while, today is an off day, I just need to check out. Yes. Then check out. You can check back in tomorrow.
Absolutely. So, I would love to know a little bit more about what you say here is there's one thing certain I know for certain. Death will knock on each of our doors. It's a guarantee. And so when death knocks on your door, how will you answer it? And I really liked how you sort of finished off with your story. And just, can you just talk a little bit about what we can do to help others or I think others, in our family that maybe have serious illnesses or terminal illnesses, what we can do to help them?
I think the first thing you need to do is have a conversation. That oftentimes what happens is somebody like my mom is diagnosed, and we start to worry about the inevitable and the what ifs, and we have no idea what their thought process is. We have no idea how they're thinking or how they're feeling, and we could be absolutely disconnected, really disconnected. So it's really by starting having a conversation, how do you feel? What do you think? And my mom has said, and I fully believe, we have one foot in the ground and we have one foot on the ground. All of us, from the day that we're born, all of us.
Yeah.
What foot do you want to focus on today?
Mm-hmm.
The one that's in or the one that's out?
Yes.
And depending on your circumstances, will depend on which foot you really need to focus on. But I'm going to give you a little bit of a story, I guess I will share with you.
Yeah.
So I had a girlfriend call, and her mom was palliative. So her mom was coming back to live with her. She's in a palliative stage, and she doesn't have long to be on this earth.
Mm-hmm.
They had planned a birthday party for mom, and she had said like there's 40-ish people coming, and 35 of them don't know the state that my mom is in.
Oh.
They're going to be surprised when they come and see that she's doesn't look as strong as what she used to. And I think she may have had oxygen. So there was a little bit of support that was being administered to her, and nobody knows. She only has a few days left. Do we cancel the party? My first question to her was what she wants. So we're assuming that they don't want the party. We're assuming that life is now over without even having that conversation. And it's their life we're talking about.
Right. Yes.
So ask them the question. Ask them the question. So she asked the question, and mom was certainly fine with having everybody come. Said, and I would encourage you not to tell people prior to them arriving. They're showing up for a birthday party for a beautiful woman who has lived a beautiful life.
Yeah.
And that deserves to be celebrated just like a birthday party.
Yeah.
So go ahead with that birthday party and start in that manner. And with your mom's permission, have the conversation again. Ask her if she's okay if you share the information in the news. And if she is midway through, just do a toast to your mom.
Mm-hmm.
To a life well lived, to the strength of the woman. And at that point in time, loop your guests in. So not only are we here today to celebrate the birthday party of my magnificent mother, but we're also here to celebrate the last couple of days that she has on earth.
Oh.
And we wanted to celebrate them with you, her close friends and family.
Yeah.
So although you may be a little surprised, and although this may hit your heart heavy, I'm going to ask, if possible, that you reserve your tears. And for the rest of the party, we want you to share all of the beautiful stories and memories that you have of my mom. Share them with me, share them with her, and let's take this opportunity to really bless her and celebrate her, that she leaves this world feeling the love that we've all felt for her. What a beautiful gift that you can give somebody to depart the world.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they did. It turned out to be a beautiful day. When it was too much for mom was allowed to then go and have that nap and to lay down and rest. And they really just celebrated her and her life. And why shouldn't we do that more?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a beautiful story. And it's and it really brings home that it isn't even really your decision. You need to ask her. Why are you not asking her? Yeah, that makes complete sense.
And when you have the conversations, it makes it so much easier to then start to navigate.
Yeah.
And we can start having those conversations as soon as we start having a family.
Yes.
We all have an expiry date, but you can't like flip us over and see on the bottom when it is. We don't know when it's coming. Some of us are here for a short amount of time, and some of us are here for a long amount of time.
Yeah.
We don't know.
No.
But once you start having a family or a business or anything that you're responsible for, why don't we have those conversations and have an action plan in place that if this, then that. It makes it so much easier for those who are left behind to navigate. What do we do next? So for me, it's a good conversation to have. I'm going to say part of the hard part is all this law of attraction that we talk about. I believe in it 100%. To a certain extent. So I've had girlfriends who have come back and said, well, if you talk about it and you birth it, it's coming. Like, I can tell you that if we sit here today and put in a plan in place to protect your family,
Yeah.
the Grim Reaper's not knocking on your door tomorrow.
Yes.
The law of attraction doesn't quite work that way. If we speak about that today, you're not dying tomorrow.
No.
Like you're just not. But there's
Yeah.
that fear that if we birth that out into the universe,
Yes.
you're
I
gonna
see.
knock on my door before I'm ready. It's like
Yes.
that's not
Yes.
how it works in this
No.
realm of the
Yes.
conversation.
Yes. No, I agree. And I think that it is important to plan. And I know for myself, I've had family members that have passed away and they refuse to plan anything. So at the end, here you are grieving, going, I don't know what to do. Okay. And you start going through the motions and you don't even get a chance really to grieve at that particular time because you're just in, okay, what are we going to do? How do we do it? The whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. You walk into the to-do list mode, right? It's just, I'm just a checker off of the to-do list.
Yeah.
And I had a girlfriend who said it was the same thing. She was more of a caregiver to her mom towards the end.
Yeah.
And 5 years later, she now realizes she still hasn't sat as a daughter and mourned the loss of her mother.
Oh, yeah.
And no one should be put in that space 5 years later. We loved them for as long as we could.
Yeah.
We have the right to mourn them the day that they leave. And my husband has asked me, like, a death doula, like end of life doula. I'm not quite sure. How do you explain what you do?
Yeah.
I said, well, I had the good fortune of having a birthing doula. And a birthing doula celebrates with us as we welcome in a brand new life. They coach us and they guide us so that we can have a successful, hopefully pain-free-ish celebration of life coming in.
Yes.
So we do that with people coming into the world. Why aren't we doing that as people leave the world?
Mm-hmm.
And an end-of-life doula comes in and just makes sure that your dreams and your wishes are looked after and that you have the choice as to how you're going to depart. And we just make those wishes come true. We celebrate you in all of the glory and we honor the life that you've had. And we allow you to transition from this world.
That's beautiful. Yes, very beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was a great explanation.
Perfect.
Absolutely. So, because it's so funny you said that because that was my next question. So what exactly do you do as a doula? But it makes sense. And I think that how nice for someone to be able to do that for themselves and also release their family from the burden of, okay, we've done nothing. They're now gone. And now what do we do?
Yes. And then even in the heat of the moment, so even with a birthing doula, so, I mean, my husband, reality was, the father of my children, not a great coach when it came to having children. The birthing doula made sure that my needs were looked after. He didn't have to worry about that. He was allowed to just be and to be present for the experience. So an end-of-life doula does the same support for family. You should be allowed to show up as a family and just be as the family. Let us worry about all of the other stuff that's going on and the needs and the tasks that should be looked after in the moment while you just enjoy the last moments with your family that you can, like, drink them all up and let us worry about all the heavy lifting on the outside. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's just beautiful. I can't believe that I didn't really understand exactly what it was that you did. And you even wrote in the book and I read your story. But I kind of knew, but I didn't. But this was a great explanation. So thank you. And if there's anybody out there that, like me, was a little lost as to exactly what it was, I think it's great. You did a great job of explaining it for sure. Wow. Well, Sheri, thank you so much for being willing to come and talk about your mom's experience, your family's experience, and for explaining what you do as a doula. I think that you're needed in the world. Absolutely. And people need you for sure. So I hope that anybody that watches this or reads your story, if they're thinking about, what am I going to do down the road, or if they're ill and they want to talk to you about their situation, I hope they reach out. In the description below, when people read or watching this, I'm going to have Sheri's bio, and then there will be links for you to reach out to Sheri if you wanted to discuss anything at all with her. So that'll all be there for you so that she's easy to reach. And also there'll be a little bit of information here about the book and Sheri's chapter in there as well. So Sheri, thank you so much for doing this. Really, it was a very, I wasn't sure what kind of a conversation we were going to have because it's a touchy one, death and
It is.
yeah, and your mom's illness, but you handle it with grace, my dear, and I appreciate all of your wisdom and all of your encouragement for people out there. It kind of takes that little bit of a fear away. So I thank you for that.
Thank you, Julie. I love the opportunity to come and just to chat about those uncomfortable conversations so that they do become comfortable.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay, Sheri. Well, thank you so much. And we will see you again soon. You take care.
You too, Julie. Thank you.
You're welcome.